Hey, it's Christian Cool here. We're gonna talk some pro wrestling here today. Some NXT No Mercy, some TNA Victory Road, and what they're leading up to, which is the Showdown special for NXT coming up here in a few days. So, some thoughts, and we're gonna go over the individual shows and some fallout from those shows, which is leading up to this kind of very unique event that is being hosted by both NXT and TNA. Um, it, I don't know. There hasn't been very much of anything like this in the mainstream wrestling world since AEW and TNA had their partnership. I mean, unless you're not to this extent, I should say, not to this extent. You know, right now we're seeing some Forbidden Door action between um, we're seeing WWE going back and forth, you know, with having some of the wrestlers in AAA, some of the wrestlers in NXT, some of the wrestlers in TNA, um, and then we're seeing AEW do the same thing, having some New Japan come in, having doing some CML, having people from CMLL come in, and vice versa, and it's the outreach for bigger companies to have talent to perform at lesser events and at the indies is at an all-time high. Independent wrestling has not had such a bigger boon than it probably has since the mid 2000s, honestly. Um so let's get to talking about the events this weekend. So bring up the screen here. Let's talk No Mercy first. The match card overall, if we're gonna make any comparison between the two events between NXT No Mercy and TNA's Victory Road, Victory Road was Friday. Maybe we should talk about Victory Road first because No Mercy was Saturday, right? Yeah. Or was No Mercy first and then Victory Road? I'm trying to remember. Let me see the dates. My That was September 27th. This was 26th. So yeah, Victory Road happened first. Um, TNA having events on Friday nights sometimes really throws me off. So, um, we're gonna talk about basically the what happened on the show overall. Let's discuss Ash by Elegance impromptu retirement. Not medically disclosed to us. We have no idea what is why she is medically retiring or not. I'm saying retiring like she's done. Just she's no longer going to be working in the ring and she's done performing for the time being. Not 100% sure why, like I said, but she had to forfeit the title. Just seems all of a sudden, and I don't know if there's a maybe there's a pregnancy involved. Maybe she's got cancer. Maybe it's a family, like close family related thing that she's got to deal with. Who knows? There's no details. Although it is kind of funny that she starts posting advertisements for her OnlyFans on Twitter after this announcement's been made and trying to get people to, you know, outreaching for subs. So kind of a head scratcher a little bit, knowing that okay, well, she's pushing the OnlyFans thing after she's saying she's stepping away from wrestling, which is kind of the trend that Mandy Rose did, which is the trend that the former Cora Jade did. Like it's I don't know. This is a different topic for a different discussion. Let's talk about the show. She forfeits title. We get a 9 knockout battle royale, which honestly they could have done away with this battle royale, but everybody loves the battle royale, so they went ahead and did it anyways. Li Yingli ends up basically there's co-winners. They announced this that the final two participants will have a singles match, and then they will the winner will get the knockouts title. Usually they do the match right after the battle royale, like you're the final two, now one of you have to pin each other. But for some reason they didn't do it like that. They said, oh hey, stop, you're done wrestling, it's just you two. Okay, save it for the title match later. Go get a water break, stretch your legs. Like, I just found the pacing a little odd that they decided to do it that way. It's like, hey, if you're gonna kick off with the battle royale, make it mean something. It just felt like a waste of time. And honestly, they could have came out and been like, hey, we got two qualified contestants, or two qualified wrestlers. I said contestants like it's a game show. Two qualified wrestlers, one from TNA and one from NXT, to compete for this title. Instead of just being like, oh, we're just going to do this battle royale and fill some time. Nothing much to talk about the battle royale. So. Then we had the Matt Cardona and the Hometown Man. They took on the Nemeths. Average match. Not really much to talk about. I guess they've been doing this Hometown Man. I guess Cody Deaner. I haven't been following the storyline all that much, but I guess he's not able to do his own thing. So he's been coming and doing shows as the Hometown Man, which I guess it's a silly gimmick. It's getting over a little bit. But I've never really cared for the Nemeths as a tag team. I think Ryan Nemeth is I think he's holding his brother Nick back. I know Nick has always wanted to work with his brother and they've always wanted to do stuff together, but like Ryan has nowhere near the talent that Nick has, and it's just so annoying to watch basically Ryan be the weakest link of this match at every point of the match and everything I see him do. So wasn't really thrilled by it. I was happy to see the Hometown Man get his win, and we moved on. Santana and Ridge Holland. This match was actually way better than I thought it was going to be. Santana, of course, was going to go over. Ridge Holland, basically the assassin from Trick Williams from NXT. Ridge Holland hasn't been on NXT program. He's been on Evolve, which, in my opinion, if you've been working NXT shows and you are now working Evolve because you have nothing to do on NXT, I feel that you're on your way out the door. And this pertains to Ridge Holland. This pertains to what's the sleepy girl's name? The scary sleepy girl. Wendy Chu. I think it's Wendy Chu, right? Goes by Wendy Chu. Yeah, okay. So, Wendy Chu. She's been on Evolved, and like Brooks Jensen's been on Evolved. It's like, did they really not have anything for you in NXT? Like, it felt very annoying. That I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, I feel like if you're not going to do anything with them, let them go already. Cut them. Like, it just seems like a constant step back for these characters or the talent in general. A lot of this talent's way too talented to not be subjected to work and Evolve. Maybe they volunteered. Maybe they were very open to doing it and they needed some NXT veterans. I don't know. But Ridge Holland has always been kind of like, I was really worried just because the guy had potential, and like ever since the Big E incident, the man's confidence has been constantly like in question and shattered. Well, shattered to a point and then constantly in question, and he's always like trying to like get past that. And but I'll give you credit. This was probably the best Ridge Holland match I had seen in a long time, if ever. Very enjoyable, fun match for what it was supposed to be, and making Santana, look good, put him over, Mustafa Ali. So basically, I guess this was a stipulation match for Hardcore War Advantage between Order 4 and the System. This was not a bad match at all. Mustafa Ali, I always have said in the past, is one of the most underrated wrestlers, one of the most underrated talents in all pro wrestling today. This guy could be a top champion, honestly, anywhere. Like, he has the charisma, he has the look, he has the talent in the ring and out of the ring. He can tell stories, he's well educated, and he is a different take on everything that we know in the rest that is a norm in wrestling. And I just wish he could, like, break that ceiling and just, get that opportunity. And more about Ali later. But him and Moose is a solid worker. Like, I enjoy Moose. Now, do I think it's getting closer to the time that Moose kind of hangs up? Probably, but like, he's still able to perform pretty well in the ring and give a pretty enjoyable match. Ali getting the win here, which will give Order 4 the advantage coming at Bound for Glory, which is coming up as well. I didn't really label Bound for Glory for this video, but it will be coming out when we might discuss it down here eventually in the future. So, Joe Hendry, Eric Young. Honestly, this match, it was a whatever match. I know a lot of people love Joe Hendry. I am not, like, I think it's a cute gimmick, but like, as soon as the bell rings, he kind of puts me to sleep. Eric Young kind of does the same thing, unfortunately for me. Both these are great. Like, they got cute gimmicks and they do great things on the mic and stuff like that, but like, yeah, I don't know. When it comes to the in-ring action, it just, this wasn't exactly a standout match. It was fine. I was just happy to get through it when we got through it. It wasn't the worst match by any, in any way, shape, or form, but I was just happy to be done with it. We had a tables match, Matt Hardy against AJ Francis. You might ask, why, oh why, is there no Jeff? Well, Jeff is not, there. I think there's some sort of thing where Jeff's not allowed in Canada right now, due to his past, troubles. I don't know if they were drug related or whatever. I can't fully remember what the reasons were, but I think he's got something to where he's not allowed to be in Canada. Isn't some of the Uso brothers have some of the similar problems when it goes the WWE going to Canada as well? I don't remember. I just remember Jeff has had some issues when it comes to working shit in Canada. But this match basically is supposed to hype the upcoming Hardy match against the Team 3D for Bound for Glory. Give you a little taste. AJ Francis basically being a foil for the match. AJ Francis, he's been all right for TNA ever since he showed up, but not my favorite worker. But some people have really been behind him. With him, sorry, my phone's been buzzing. I was just kind of checking to see what was going on, make sure it wasn't important. But he's gained some momentum in TNA, and he's been getting people over and pushing storylines with given what he can do, and he hasn't been completely useless. Sorry, it's hard to look at AJ Francis and not think about the very bad flop he did over the top rope in WWE before he lost his job in WWE. So it's hard to take AJ Francis seriously. Then we had the TNA Knockouts World Title. The two women won the Battle Royale, Leading Lee and Blind Jordan. They come back. They put out a hell of a match. I would almost say this was the best match of the night. And I say that given the fact that these two probably weren't expecting to work with each other until they got there that night. and they put something together and it worked. These two worked very well together. It was you saw struggle, you saw intensity, you saw the compassion that was needed between two competitors that wanted a title that was up for grabs, and this was like I said, by far the best match of the night. I know people rave about the X Division match, but we'll get there. And I just rewatched the TNA knockout title match and the X Division match, just so we're clear. And like I said, this was easily the best match of the show. So kudos to both these ladies. It's kind of cool to see Kalani Jordan represent TNA knockouts now. For my honest opinion of Kalani Jordan, I believe she's a very talented worker, but she's missing the it factor. To me, she's still missing that it factor. But I think maybe she could find it here, representing TNA. Who knows? The International Championship. Steve Macklin, the interim champ, or he's the inaugural champ. They just introduced this championship. He defended against Frankie Kazarian. Kazarian got the win on him. After Macklin got, I don't exactly know what was going on, because from the sounds of it, it was a guy from AAA or wherever that interfered in the match, and Macklin dropped the title to Kazarian. It was an okay match. Nothing to brag about. Nothing to write home. Like I said, write home about. Kazarian. What can I say about Kazarian that might not offend people, but it might accurately describe my thoughts about Kazarian? He's kind of like that veteran that you sign with the minimum contract that you need on the roster to have, kind of feel like that has had history with the company. That you have around, and you basically lean on him when you need to, but you would prefer not to. That's kind of what Kazarian feels like. And I've never been the biggest fan of his work. Now, I've heard he was more entertaining when he was like tag teaming with Christopher Daniels and Scorpio Sky as I forget the name of that particular faction, but that was probably his best work, I've been told. But like, in my opinion, I never thought Kazarian was nothing better than an okay hand in the ring. Like, so I was just kind of like, meh. Okay, he won the title, cool, whatever. His King of TNA gimmick, like, basically it gives him a chance to really be able to talk a lot and try to be the smarmy heel on TNA, and he kind of fits the role a little bit. He has the look a little bit, but like, the problem is it just, he doesn't sound as authentic. Like, it's hard to boo him because he doesn't authentically sound like an asshole, if you know what I'm saying. Like, whenever MJF on AEW like cuts promos and disparages the crowd and other talent, it feels slimy. You sense it almost feels real and true coming from him. The same can be said about when it's maybe a Drew McIntyre. Said could be, whenever Drew has stuff to say, it feels, you can sense that annoyance, that dread he has with the things that he doesn't like to deal with, and the things that upset him, but for some reason I just can't buy into Frankie Kazarian's shtick. It just doesn't sound authentic. So that's So I kind of was just, was like, okay, the match happened. He's the champ. Okay, let's move on. TNA X Division Championship, Leon Slayer, Myron Reed. First of all, I have always liked when TNA highlighted the X Division Championship as a top tier championship that could be the main event, because the X Division Championship was not like any other type of championship. Sure, it could look like a mid card title because it had, cruiser, like people you would consider in the cruiserweight division, people you would consider not main event talent wrestling for this title. But when you eventually have main event talent changing up their style and working and doing what they need to do to kind of represent the X division, the title gains more credibility as like a main event programmed title that can be used. So Leon Slayer apparently has gained a lot of momentum in the last couple months. He's had the endorsement from AJ Styles when AJ showed up to TNA recently. He's been endorsed by the Hardys. He's been endorsed by, and he's young as hell. He's like 20, 21. Yeah, I think he's 21. He's got the world in front of him. So he puts on a banger. We'll say a banger against Myron Reed. Myron Reed, I barely knew who Myron Reed was. I knew he was part of the Rascals. I knew he wasn't much of a single star, but like all of a sudden they're like, hey, Myron Reed won an opportunity. So it's like one of those like, hey, you would probably never see this match ever, but hey, it's happening. That's kind of the feel they tried to give for this. And Leon Slater is a very exceptional talent in the ring. Definitely him and Reed had a very enjoyable match. And like I said, I think if the match had more of the struggle and the compassion that the women had in their match, I think this match could have been the best match of the night. But at some point, you can also see where it's like, okay, it's the main event. Maybe Leon belongs here, but Myron Reed, it's just, this was the marquee match, and it just kind of was like, I don't know. It was a little hard. It was a little hard for me to buy into it and get excited, especially someone coming back to watch more TNA, and I haven't seen a lot of the TNA, so much of the TNA product recently, and they're like, "Here's Myron Reed," and I'm just like, who is this? But I mean, of course, I did a little history digging, but it didn't help placate the lack of excitement that I had for the match. Now, like I said, it was an enjoyable match. Very much so. Really highlighting Leon Slayer as the now and future of their company. So kudos to them. Overall, the show, like, it wasn't a bad show. By any means. Like I said, yeah, for what it was, a show a couple weeks before one of their biggest shows of the year, Bound for Glory, this was fine. So, yeah, Victory Road. So the next night was NXT No Mercy. And keep in mind, this TNA NXT conglomeration's been happening for the last, how many months now? I want to say like almost half a year. Well, it was very sporadic. Now it's been happening continuously for like almost half a year now. And it's been, I want to say it's been beneficial for TNA. Definitely a lot more beneficial than their partnership with AEW. AEW basically just buried that company, unfortunately, when they partnered up. But because the thing about TNA, and I will say this, and always die on this hill when arguing about TNA. TNA is one of the most innovative companies I have ever seen in pro wrestling. And there are so many reasons I can list off right now that would boldly back up that claim. I mean, yeah, sure. I mean, other companies have done it better or other companies have stood out more, but TNA has done some pretty interesting things boldly, might I add, but um there's a reason that people remember the people yearn for it, people still follow it, and people um are happy to represent it. So anywho, NXT's No Mercy. So let's talk about it. This was if I had to grade the shows, this was the more enjoyable show. So this was the next night. We had Javon Evans versus Josh Briggs. Pretty enjoyable match overall. The definitely a great match to start a show, get the crowd going, and these two have had a pretty enjoyable feud. Josh Briggs is trying to really find his place as that disgusting heel that I mentioned earlier in the NXT brand, and maybe he's gotten there. I don't know. Maybe it still sounds like the crowd's giving him go away heat, but the man is talented in the ring. Like, he puts on good ass matches in the ring. So like, I'm hoping that what the crowd chants is a little less visceral. I mean, there's a difference between like booing a heel and then just being like, go away, Briggs, go away, and every like negative chant is like referring to him just getting out of their sight. So it's kind of like, does he just take that on and it becomes meme worthy, or does he just like is that just going to continue or evolve to where it's just more go away heat, which is a shame because Briggs has been in NXT for however long now, forever it seems like, and he just hasn't found that opportunity that either puts him to the main roster or makes him a mainstay in NXT, kind of like Javon or Trick Williams. Either way, this match was awesome. Had a fun time with it. Went a little long. I'll admit to that. It went a little long. Could have ended maybe 5 minutes sooner, but still a great, enjoyable match. Then you got the Speed Championship, Sol Ruka and Jay Parker. I'm going to say this right now. Why the fuck does the Speed Championship still exist? This stupid idea, the most ass-backwards concept in pro wrestling. The idea of pro wrestling is to fucking tell a story and, slow it down so the fucking audience can digest what's going on and not just get your shit in and hurry through the fucking match. And then you have the Speed Championship concept, which is exactly what that is. Hurry up, get your shit in, and have a victor. And there's no real time to really tell a story during the match. So all your storytelling has to happen pre-match. And at the end of the day, this is just it's not even a secondary title. It's like a title I would wipe my ass with. Like, this is a title that basically I would use to eat my food as a tray. Like, I would use it as a tray and eat my food on it. Like, this is a worthless title. It doesn't matter. I don't know why they continue to emphasize it. It's stupid. And let's just clearly point out this match also wasn't that good. It just, again, none of the speed matches are that good, really. I mean, you give me one good speed match, really. It just, no. Let's move on. And yeah, Sol Ruka, still the champ, but it is what it is. Weaponized steel cage match. We had Jordan Grace, Blake Monroe. I've been loving the heat between kind of like the intensity between these two women, telling the story of how much they can't stand each other, and Monroe basically using Jordan Grace as a basically a footstep to get further in the company. This was a I honestly, I'm not gonna lie. I expected the match to be slightly better. Um, I don't want to say it went long. I want to say too much. Too much of what they tried to do in the ring required too much awkward setup, and then it just was like, okay, well, for what came of it, it wasn't exactly like, um, sorry, damn ads. I mean, it's not even an ad. We'll just leave it. Either way, um, they did some interesting spots here in the match, mostly cutting Jordan's hair, which was kind of cool because she has the long curly locks. Um, but you know they did some spots. Grace putting her cut hair into her mouth. Um, there was some other like cool little things that they did. With like what was another one? Yeah, they did the air raid crash through the table. Um, there was some stuff thrown in the eyes, like some dust, and yeah, like I said, they didn't do it. They didn't do anything too innovative, but you know they looked like they were trying to beat up each other at least. And like I said, there was some mid match awkwardness, but either way, it was a serviceable match, and the feud's blown off. We're moving on. Um, finish, yeah, the finish was big. I see their takeaway about the finish. The finish was good. So, Tavion Heights against Ethan Page. So Ethan Page is right now my favorite wrestler in WWE. I've been really enjoying Ethan Page. I've been eating him up. And when I say eat him up, I mean I've been like really been digging all his like everything's been doing. Um he's just the smarmiest heel ever, and I love it. Like, and it's so good. Like, you just don't want him to. It's like you want to see more of his downfall, or you want to see what he's gonna do next. You're always wanting to see what he's gonna do next. And he's a great talker. He's got the body for the wrestling business. And when I say body, I don't mean he looks like he's got like a six pack, and he looks like he works out in the gym 10 hours a day. I'm saying like he looks solid, like a fucking wrestler. Um, yeah, he's got the whole package. I could see him having a real good run on the main roster once he gets there. But for now, he had the task of slowing down Tavion Heights. Heights has potential to maybe do some big things in NXT. My thing about Heights is that he gets a little over himself when he's in the ring, and I think it's just I know a lot of it is just like he's trying to really be hyped, but like I think a little too much is just like it kind of takes you back a little bit. It's a little much. Um, like the focus is not there. I like to show that he needs to like he's trying too much to connect with the fans sometimes instead of like letting what he's doing in the ring connect with the fans. You know what I mean? That's kind of what I see about Tavion Heights, but either way, doesn't mean he can't get any better. He will. I'm hoping. Now that he's out on his own a little more, but either way, definitely a good person to help keep Paige's momentum going for the title run. So, it was a fine match. I'm just curious more about this Dr. Wagner match that Paige is like, because they've been hyping this match for a bit now. I guess they're gonna have some sort of like match against each other, whether it's gonna be on a AAA program or it's gonna be on a NXT program. I don't know. but it'll be fun to watch either way because Dr. Wagner, I've seen some stuff. He's a very interesting character. Um, I mean, for the little bit I saw, he's piqued my interest. So I want to see more of what he can bring to the table to really make this feud kind of hit for me. But we'll see. Lola Vice versus JC Jane. This match was a fine match. JC Jane is actually impressing me the more I watch. She always seemed like she was just there throughout Fatal Attraction. Well, as part of Fatal Attraction and as part of Toxic. Was it Toxic Attraction? Was that the tag team? Yeah. Yeah, Toxic Attraction. So yeah, sorry, I mixed. So it's Fatal Influence, not Toxic Attraction. But even as part of Fatal Influence, when they started, she just felt like she was just there. Like, so I didn't exactly know what direction they were going at the time with Fatal Influence, with Fallon Henley winning the NA title. At first it's like, okay, well, JC Jane, when is she gonna get her time? Well, she eventually won the title and has been running away with it after she beat Stephanie Vakir. And being the kind of she's a heel that likes to lean on help, but she's also a heel that will do the job herself. Like, she's been entertaining. She's already been the TNA Knockouts champ, which was a quick transition to say that she's held both titles. I don't think that was ever supposed to be like a long-term thing, but now she's had a bit of a run with the NXT women's title, and it's been a good run. I've been enjoying it. I loved when she first won the title that they did the whole meme about her being the most beatable champion, because that's how I felt. That's everyone was thinking that. Like, how is she the champion? Because yeah, she seems like the most beatable champion. She was the last person I would have put the NXT title on, and she ended up getting it. So it's like, okay, so she's rolling with it. They're like, JC Jane's our girl. But now I'm getting more and more convinced as the weeks go, and maybe it was a good choice. She's earned it. Honestly, I feel she's at this point earned it. Lola Vice, I want to like Lola Vice. I do. I do want to like Lola Vice, but something about Lola Vice, there's just something about Lola Vice that just makes me not like get behind her so much. And I can't put my finger on it. I mean, the fans are behind her. Well, don't get me wrong. The fans, she does. I mean, she's got great hips, and people love when she does her hip thing. And she finds time to kind of taunt in the crowd, during the match and stuff like that. She just like, that's just her personality. It's what she likes to do. She's obviously badass. She's a fucking fighting, she's a real fighter. So like, she's very badass. But like, no, I think it's just the way she cuts her promos. And she leans on her hardships, her family, like growing up with her family. She leans on personal stuff to try to get over. And that doesn't necessarily should bother. It doesn't exactly bother me, but it's just her delivery. Her promo delivery is not great. It's hard to like. Sometimes like when people deliver promos in the ring, or just they do like a promo standoff or whatever. Sometimes somebody should just talk like they would normally talk, and just kind of, seem organic when they deliver a promo. They should, or try to, if they're trying to remember lines. I think that's part of the problem. Lola sounds like she's trying to remember lines or she's trying to go too slow with her delivery, because it just like it feels so like it just doesn't feel real. Like, yeah, the fans will still cheer or whatever because she's the face, but like, because JC Jane's a cretin, basically. But, the reason people are behind you is because JC Jane is proven to be a cretin of a heel, not because they want to see you as the next champ. Trust me, people have already forgotten that Lola Vice already tried for the championship. Do you see people going, "Oh, she got screwed. She deserved the title"? No, it's because people didn't care. Lola Vice is like her in ring work is serviceable. Her promo work is lacking. And I don't know if she just has a hard time remembering lines and she's got to go through it slow in her head and it comes out pretty robotic or just kind of meh. But just overall, not a fan. So honestly, the less she talks, the better she is. Let's put that way. Either give Lola Vice a mouthpiece, or just don't let her talk much and just let her kick ass. Do that. Emphasize her strengths, because the more she talks, the worse her presentation is. And sometimes that just needs to be the way it goes. Ricky Saints against Obafemi. This match was a solid match as well. Basically, how is Saints gonna overcome the ruler? They had to really emphasize, in order to sell the idea of Ricky Saints beating the ruler, they constantly had to sell the idea that Obafemi's defended his title so many times in the last, throughout his title reign or in the last couple months, or he's constantly been in triple threat matches and this and that, and eventually, someone's gonna get that win, Maybe it'll be Saints' day. So they were selling that real hard. They were selling, and they've been selling that hard for the feud and even during the match. I did like the lead up to this where Oba pretty much felt Ricky is insignificant. There's nothing he's gonna do that he's done nothing to make himself feel like he should worry about him. Oba's looking past him, and that's I kind of like how they kind of set that up, which works to Saints' advantage in the storytelling, because then he can do that rallying cry later in the match, luckily, and be able to believe it. Being able, and then focusing on the idea that he was constantly dropping Oba on his noggin. How many tornado DDTs were we going to see in this match? But the idea is that he constantly, the more you drop a man on his head, the worse for wear he gets. And eventually, he hit him in the right place, the right time, and got him, and got the win. So they put the title on Saints. New NXT champion, Ricky Saints, which is, cool. I knew he was going to probably win it. He's a Cody boy. For those of you who are unaware, Cody Boy is who I call a wrestler. Ethan Page is in this group. Brian Pillman Jr., Alexis King, and Sean Spears. There's a few others. They're who I call Cody Boys. They are basically the good friends of Cody Rhodes, and they're gonna get their treatment, their good treatment in WWE, and make the most of it and move up on the card because of their affiliation with Cody Rhodes. I'm not saying that they're not talented, because Ethan Page is really talented, and Saints ain't bad, but yeah, I know the internet loves to have these certain coined phrases for certain people, so we'll say Cody Boy. So either way, it's interesting to see where they're gonna go now with Saints being the title, Saints having the championship, and whether or not Obafemi is going to go to the main roster or whether he's going to stay in NXT, that's yet to be determined. But all this is leading up to NXT Showdown. Because heaven forbid we have an invasion in pro wrestling. Well, it also makes sense because they were gonna go with the invasion, which they kind of ripped off the logo. Because it would, they were gonna go with the evasion as the title of the show, but because of the I guess I don't know, something from the Israelis. I don't know if it was the government or the group or some sort of public group or whatever from the Israeli community, where there was an outcry that it was insensitive of WWE to basically promote an invasion concept on like the anniversary of when they were attacked. So yeah, they switched the names over, and it makes more sense to do Showdown anyways because TNA and NXT have already been invading each other's shows, so it makes no sense to call it invasion at that point. So I'm glad they changed it to Showdown. But either way, this match is going to happen very soon. This week actually, the 7th, yeah. So hopefully this will come out and people can watch this before then. But so basically they're gonna have a men's Survivor Series match. They're gonna have a women's Survivor Series match, and then a few other matches to round it out. But Survivor Series elimination match, they added special referees, Joe Hendry and Jordan Grace, respectively, to the men and women's, because Joe Hendry and Jordan Grace are kind of like the tweeners. Jordan Grace is officially done with TNA and now is full NXT. Joe Hendry is about done with TNA and will be full NXT once he's done there. So, but yeah, we're gonna have the team of Ricky Saints, Trick Williams, Javon Evans, and Miles Bourne, which I'm pleasantly surprised to see Miles Bourne. Hoping they do more with him. He's got a good look. He's got the deaf thing. I think the kid has a future. But and then you got Team TNA, Mike Santana, Moose, Kazarian, Leon Slater. I mean, as I said, Kazarian's an old vet for TNA. Moose is a vet of TNA. Leon Slater's the future, and now TNA. Mike Santana is the most over face in TNA. So, outside of Leon's, well, I'd say Mike Santana is more over than Leon. So basically, yeah, the best of what NXT has to offer right now against the best of what TNA has to offer right now. Cool. Interesting. Interested to see what storylines come of this, or what gets blown up, or what else gets pushed out of this. I'm very curious. Women's Survivor Series elimination match. We got Team NXT of JC Jane, Sol Ruka, Jada Parker, and Lula Vice. I guess those are fine women to represent the company, because unfortunately they don't have Kalani Jordan to represent them, because Kalani Jordan's on the TNA Knockouts title and said she's going to represent TNA. Which is interesting because TNA has 3 former WWE people alongside Jordan as her teammates, with the former Iconics, known as the Inspiration currently, of Cassie Lee and Jessie McKay. Both those mothers are gonna put people in their cupboards. I was trying for something there, and yeah, that sounded terribly. And then we got Marisade, the former Jakara Jackson, that no one gave a shit about, never got over, never did anything in NXT, and then they let her go. And apparently she's gaining some momentum in TNA on her own. And, you know, it's a shame because I didn't really get to see much of her in NXT. Lash Legend just basically dwarfed her, both physically and metaphorically, in while they both had their time together in NXT. So, but you know, I'm curious how this match lays out. Hopefully we see some pretty cool fallout that happens because of this. And then the filler matches, we got winner take all TNA tag and NXT tag titles. No one is allowed at ringside. The Hardys against Griffin and Lennox of Dark State. It's always cool to see the Hardys do their thing. And then like being able to kind of, you know, give a rub to Lennox and Griffin. It'll be I don't know. It'll be serviceable. I just don't know how fun it'll be or how cool the match will be. The match I'm actually more interested in is the North American Championship match between Ethan Page and Mustafa Ali. This is 2 years in the making for Mustafa Ali. If you didn't catch the promo last week's NXT, go watch Mustafa Ali's promo. It was a very good, authentic promo. Kind of shies away from his current NXT or TNA character, but it still hit because it's real. It is real. Like the promo goes on about how he was denied his North American Championship opportunity back when he was working NXT shows because WWE decided to can his ass. And without any warning whatsoever, like no one knew he was getting fired. Like Shawn Michaels didn't know he was getting fired. No one knew. It was just all of a sudden they decided to cut him, and for no reason other than the cut costs. And they felt he wasn't in anything too important. And Shawn Michaels was, I guess, reportedly pissed because he was leaning on Mustafa Ali helping lead NXT for a good while. If the main roster wasn't going to use him, Shawn definitely was because Shawn's a big fan. But yeah, as you already heard, my love for Ethan Page, we're going to see him defend the title against Ali. It's going to be easily the best match of the night, easily. So, looking forward to watching that on Showdown. But yeah, just like so overall, let's discuss it real quick. This whole NXT TNA collaboration. How like is it really helping TNA? Is it really doing anything for NXT? For NXT, it doesn't really matter. I mean, they're in a sense, it's extending the NXT roster because the NXT roster has been kind of fragmented. I was trying to find a word that fit the bill because some of the NXT rosters work and evolve. Some of the NXT roster is just not even being used right now, or they're like working like other shows. Oh, okay. Let's LFG for instance. All those people on LFG could be working NXT right now. But because they want to push another WWE related show, like a Tough Enough show that they can control the narrative of, they decided to basically have all these people who are NXT ready doing that. So they will slowly trickle some of them into NXT, as you saw with Jasper Troy and the female Olympic gold medalist. I can't remember her name right now. Which I don't honestly think she's that good anyways. It's just I watched the first season of that, and to me it's poor writing. Like I know pretty much it's a reality Tough Enough show that is 100% scripted, which pro wrestling is. But like it's hard for me to even buy into your reality TV show when you constantly push or not eliminate someone who basically the legends have basically soured on. I wouldn't say soured, but they've said enough negative things about their performances or just, you know, stuff that they are lacking or this and that with God, I'm gonna look up her name. Tyra May Steele. Yeah, so Tyra May Steele. So they say so much about like her shortcomings and this and that, and they're expressed and they're told. She has been told numerous times to the point where it's like, okay, well, obviously she's lacking and maybe not ready for this, even though she should be. She's like the oldest one there, and probably been there the longest. But eventually she just ends up winning and being the one chosen for the females and to win the thing. And it's just like, you're only doing that because she's been there long enough to be wrestling on the main or on NXT, not be doing this. She's only on the show to add credibility to the show because she's a former Olympic winner. So it drove me nuts. Like, they did a good job with Jasper Troy, building him up in LFG and then bringing him into NXT, but like, her was a complete waste of space. And then she immediately starts doing Evolve shows. So I'm just like, whatever. And then they immediately already do a season 2 of LFG, and it's just like, wow. All right, well. Either way, the show, that show is another discussion for another time. Let's just move on from there. I guess, where was I? So you got because the NXT roster just seems like a shell of itself from even from the 2.0 days. It seems like it's lesser than what it was, because so like you had the NXT Black and Gold, and there was they had plenty of talent for that. And they were also had NXT UK, which they were borrowing talent, using talent in between, and then fully infusing when NXT UK went down. So like NXT 2.0 had plenty of talent along with NXT Black and Gold. And then once 2.0 kind of died out and they started, they've been calling people up to the main roster left and right since 2.0 died. It was just like, they're calling everyone up and they're not like elevating enough people. They're also starting LFG. They're also starting Evolve. They're also starting like, they're starting all these other things. It's just like, they just don't have the depth in NXT like they used to. So this partnership with TNA, in a sense, is kind of a godsend, because now it's like the roster's doubled in size in a sense, because they got a lot of these former workers from WWE and TNA right now, and who are willing to kind of work with NXT or have, and the TNA people run the brand, very happy and open to suggestions and whatever their whatever's going, the plans are, whatever they're doing, they're on board. So I've heard people be like, why don't they just buy it already? Well, they don't need to. In a sense, I think TNA's already offered, and I think WWE said, nah, we don't need to buy you. The only reason they bought AAA was because the company that ran AAA wanted them to buy it. Like, they needed them to buy it because of shit going down on their end. WWE had to step in and buy it. That was the reason. I don't know all the details, but as far as I know, WWE had to step in by, I believe. I could be wrong on that. Don't quote me on that, but it doesn't make sense that they don't buy TNA if they were happy to buy AAA. Like, my thoughts are, I think they wanted AAA to function on their own, and they just collaborate, and I think there was no collaboration to be had. It's either like I said, I don't know the reasons. I don't know if it was a family thing, because I know it was family owned. I don't know if there was a falling out with the family and they need WWE to make the purchase, or I don't know if they just told them, "Hey, we won't collaborate. If you want to basically run the joint, buy it from us." I have no idea what all the details entail, and I could look it all up right now, but I'm not going to. All I know is there's reasons that AAA got bought and TNA did not. And I think they want TNA to work more independently on their own and have their own thing without WWE kind of basically doing their thing. Because I believe WWE is trying to let people who are kind of doing their... they're trying to let the people in charge of AAA right now kind of basically run the joint, even though WWE's put a lot more of their fingerprints on their stuff, obviously because they buy it, and you can see that with the rise of Dominic Mysterio, obviously. But I mean, based on where they were during purchase and where they are now, it obviously makes sense that they go that route. But TNA, the working relationship is so good, so open. They know that they have so much like relatable talent that they've had in shop and back and forth that they're happy TNA doing their own thing and just we'll collaborate when we need to, but we'll basically it's the feeder system in a sense. I mean, so is NXT. NXT is meant to be a feeder system at this point. They like to call it developmental. It's a feeder system. Yes, they do develop stars and develop the skills of wrestlers when they come in, but like in a sense, it's a feeder system, and that's what TNA is as well at this point. And people are going to get more experience working shows for TNA wherever they work their shows at, wherever they may be. And it just makes sense to do what they do there. So, yeah. So overall, I'm excited about this conglomeration between the two brands. What the fallout that comes from it. We got Bound for Glory coming up after is it this week or is it next week? Bound for Glory is the 7th, I believe, right? No, this is the 7th. When's Bound for Glory? The 12th. So this upcoming weekend is Bound for Glory. And they're gonna, like I said, I'm just curious everything that's gonna go down Bound for Glory, how much NXT is gonna have an impact there. Because Trick Williams is their world title, or is their world champion. Has their world title, is their world champion. Kalani Jordan is their knockouts champ. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if Dark State ends up winning the titles off the Hardys, to be honest. And it's just NXT completely dominating TNA right now, which I think it should be that right now. Like, if they're gonna try to really rally and get people behind, like get the TNA fans to get behind them and really push TNA as a premier brand, they really need to show that they can stand the people who work for the brand can stand up for the brand. And I think that's a route worth pursuing for storytelling. So we'll see if that's what they do. I'd be either way, I'm interested. Thanks for listening in to the discussion. Hopefully you guys continue to enjoy these little sessions I have talking about pro wrestling, and hopefully I get to catch some of you around and on the Discord or on stream, and we can always chat and discuss things there. But yeah, take care of yourselves and have a good one. Oh, and enjoy pro wrestling. It's awesome.